Hello and welcome to Draft Thunder. I'm Andrew,
I'm Ben. This is John Claude.
and we are here to break down the Thursday slate to NFL Week
Week one.
1.
Woo!
Week 1.
Let's go.
Very exciting stuff. Very exciting, some big contests out there, so hopefully we can work together as a team and take down some GPPs, right?
Yes, John Claude, I agree.
So before we get right into it, we're just going to talk about a new thing real quick. It's called Draft Dashboard. It is something that only costs $1 to sign up if you use our link, which will be in the bio below in the description. And basically, what it does, I'll just give you a quick show. It can be used to make your lineups. So when you're compiling lineups together, you can make a watch player pool, 15 players or so, and then you can take these players, lineup optimizer, mass lineup generator, and then basically take all these guys, pick your exposure, pick how many lineups you want. We'll just say 10 for now because that'd be quicker. Mass exposure, 75%, blah, blah, blah. And basically it'll generate the lineups. And this is a way that you can really get all the players you want and mix around the lineups to give you the best possible chance. You see we now have 10 lineups. All the players are mixed around in different spots. And really it's just a good way for you to be able to handle GPPs more. This if you play a lot of contests, and let's say you do like 10 $1 ones, that's a good way to approach it. There's also research on the site. It's a good way to look around. There's different targeting shares. A lot of information that you can use. It's $1, literally just $1 to try for the first month if you use our link. And then I think after that it's something like $40. But if you can use the 1 month and benefit from it, please do. Like, we just think it's a really good idea. We're using it this month. It's helped us in preseason a little bit with the target shares. We think it's really advantageous for the season.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely a way to get the ones that you want across the board, the players you want in different lineups, and the exposure you want in different lineups. So if you want to be overweight on the field versus underweight on the field, things of that nature, a much easier way for you to optimize your lineups if you're creating those 10, 20 lineups. And you're sitting there at 12:30 on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon and not enough time to finish all of them.
We think it's very good also for like the Thursday slate to where there's only about 15, 16 players in the player pool alone. Mm-hmm. So you could literally pick out either your favorites or even all of them and make a bunch of random lineups around it. Like, really, there's a lot of possibilities to it. And there's other sites like, I'm not going to say them, but you know what they are. They crunch share the data, make the lineups with the players that you pick, and they are way more expensive than $1. And if you like this, continue the subscription, please, because we're trying to partner with this site, and it will help us moving forward with our information and funding this, really, because hopefully it's a mutual beneficial thing for you and us.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, let's get into Thursday night.
Yep. So what kind of approach should we take going into Thursday?
I think if we looked at sort of last year, and when you think about showdown slates, everyone wants to play quarterbacks, everyone wants to play those really top receivers, top running backs. But you can't get to that lineup unless you play some of the low guys. And you look around and you're like, okay, I probably don't want to play, Jamal Williams. I don't want to play maybe Riley Ridley or Javon Wims because they're not just going to see a lot of time. So we think the best way to get to those top guys, maybe to mix in the quarterbacks, a captain, and other top guys at captain as well to ensure you can get those top guys in your lineup, is to play the kickers. Both on DraftKings and FanDuel, it allows you to play the kickers. We don't think this will be a crazy high-scoring game, but there's going to be points in it. Red zone defense for the Bears especially is really good. Packers isn't too bad. Plus the Bears offense isn't the greatest, so should see some stalled drives, some field goals. If the kicker gets 2-3 field goals, a couple extra points, you're looking at 11, 12, 13 points from your kicker. If you play both of them, that's a really solid start to your lineups at a really low price that allows you to pay up for the guys that you really want. So I think that's a good way to look at it, is to play either one or both kickers, whichever one you think will get more if you want to play one. And then on DraftKings, I know they don't do this on FanDuel, but you can also play the defenses. Obviously, Chicago D is in play here. I know Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay offense looks to be revamped with their new head coach and all of these things, but the Chicago defense is still just an absolute world-class defense. Khalil Mack's going to get around the edge a few times, I would assume. They're just good at every level. There's some places we can hit on that we're going to touch a little bit later with some of the players, but I think they're in play. We don't really care how much the Packers score. Like I talked about in the last video, they can score 20 to 28 points. That's not a huge difference in your lineup. It's going to be that sack. It's going to be the strip fumble. If they get a pick six, all those types of things, they add up much more than the negatives for the points will do. So I'm thinking about playing Chicago defense in a lot of my lineups and mixing in maybe that with a kicker, and that way I can get to some of the top guys that I want.
Yeah, this can be really good, especially with the kickers. If we think that it's going to be kind of a closer game, kind of a low-scoring game, they're going to be a lot more hungry to go for that field goal or get the sure points when they're in field goal range instead of possibly going for like a 4th and 2. Like it's going to be, in my opinion, somewhere like 20-17, something like that. I see happening in this game.
Yeah.
So I think both kickers are really good for a lineup here. But really, let's talk about kind of the position players that we like. A big thing in this game is the Packers against the run, and they are really bad against the run. One of the things that we have seen is in the preseason and last year, they were basically dead last against the run in both ground and pass against the run. So that gives us both David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen, sorry, botch that. So basically that gives us the heavy run and the pass. So we can go either way with it here. And I think that basically with our lineups, we're going to be doing a 50-50 share of both because it could go either way. It could go the Bears are down, they're going more pass game. It could go they're up, they're pounding the ball in more, they're getting success through the run game. So really having a share of both is the smarter way to go in this, in our opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be tough in week 1 to sort of identify where they're going to see the share. Is it going to be 50-50 for the running backs? Is it going to be 65-35? Where are we going to see the rushes go? Where are we going to see the targets go? I expect Montgomery to see a lot of the early down work. They kind of talked about using Tariq Cohen too much for his mental state last year. They didn't think there was a problem physically, but I know Matt Nagy had mentioned something to where he just wasn't doing as well because he was taking on too much of the workload. So I expect them to still use him in that role of pass down back. He'll still see his carries early, but I do expect Montgomery to be good here. And we also should mention the Packers drafted well, allegedly. Mm-hmm. We talked about how in preseason it didn't show. So they could be a little bit improved. It's not going to be a mass improvement, especially here in week 1.
Not right away.
I definitely think playing one of these guys across the board is probably a good idea. I also am going to be playing somewhat of a 50-50 share for my lineups. It's going to be really tough to identify, who gets in the end zone, who catches more passes, who gets more snaps. I was originally leaning Cohen. I think I might lean Montgomery now, just thinking about goal line work. But it's really, 50-50 here, and I think both will do pretty well. I probably wouldn't play both of them, just maybe in 1 or 2, just in case they both go off and it's a total running game. But I think I'd play one or the other.
Yeah, most definitely. And one more thing to point out, when you're picking the kickers, just going back to it real quick, Elliott Fry is an option for the Bears. He is not the kicker, so be wary of that. And if you use Draft Dashboard, he might still get thrown in lives because he's on the DraftKings depth chart. So make sure you're picking Pinheiro.
Eddie Pinheiro.
Pinheiro? Mm-hmm. Pinheiro. Something like that. So yeah, he will be the guy for Chicago going into the season. I know they had a big kicking battle in the preseason, but just be wary of doing that.
Yeah, big kicking battle.
Okay, you know what? When you have the double doink.
That's what I'm saying. It was a big deal for them.
Yeah. So going on to both, I guess, the position players thrown into these lineups, I am going to be rostering for the most part kind of the more pricey players for the Packers, at least. That will be more of the Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams because those are kind of the safer options, and at least in the cash games I'll be doing that. The problem is they're also going to be higher owned, so be wary. I really like Aaron Jones in this game. They're getting him back after he kind of had a slight injury going into the preseason, but I think he'll be full and ready to go in this game. As we said, the Chicago Bears defense is really hard to go against. But I think that he will have a lot of the goal line work. I expect him again for at least 1 touchdown. And he does have some capability for the catching game and receiving game out of the backfield. So I really think in an offense where they do want to run the ball more and get the ball downfield in a more high-paced offense, he could be a good play here.
Yeah, I agree. Not much to say about that. I just think, especially in today's day and age, we just talked about the split between Cohen and Montgomery, but with Aaron Jones, you're getting 3 downs in goal line for the most part, so he's going to be on the field a lot. They're going to want to go to him early. Then we're going to get him going to open up that passing game. So, yeah, I think Aaron Jones is solid. It would be interesting to see which one I pay for if I can pay for only one.
Yeah. And Devontae Adams, and the thing about him is he is kind of going to be the guy who gets those 10 targets probably, is what I can assume out of him. You're obviously paying up for him. He's going to be higher owned. But let's say he doesn't get in the end zone. We kind of expect another guy to be pretty good on offense in the slots.
Yeah, I really like Geronimo Allison in this game. The slot receiver with Aaron Rodgers has typically been Randall Cobb, and you can make your comps to Randall Cobb or versus Geronimo Allison, but I think Geronimo Allison's a pretty good football player. I don't know how good of a football player Randall Cobb is. We'll find out this year in Dallas, but I think Geronimo Allison's a really solid play here. The only spot against the pass that the Bears were really weak against was in that middle of the field. They ranked 18th in passes over the middle as opposed to 1st through 4th for other passes. So you're looking at those slot crosses, those slot seams, things that Geronimo Allison can do to get the ball in space and do some yards after the catch here. So I really like him. I think the slot receiver in Aaron Rodgers' offense pays off a lot. I think he should see 5 to 7 targets. Hopefully he can do something with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And some guys that you still have to consider Valdez Scaling just to throw him in a few laps if you're doing a bunch, like we said.
Yeah.
But obviously he's not the guy we are targeting. We don't think he's the guy who's going to do the best. But he could wind up in the end zone.
I'm not going to play him too much.
Like I would throw him in 1 or 2 lineups. That's basically what I'm saying here. And then you also have to talk about Jimmy Graham. He's
a little hurt.
He's a guy. Yeah, he's a little hurt, but he's also a red zone threat. Mm-hmm. So it's so tough with him too.
And tight ends on a showdown, I don't really like. I mean, I know they can get in the end zone, but they don't really give you that upside unless you're talking about a Kelsey or an Ertz.
Now the thing is, he is only 6,900.
Right.
So, and he has been an elite tight end at times in his career. So he's still somebody you have to at least consider a little bit, but he shouldn't be one of the top guys here for us.
Yeah. One other guy I want to mention here is Anthony Miller. I know there's a lot of hype built up around him, but a place where you can attack the Packers is also in that slot area, and Anthony Miller is one of those really explosive receivers that once he gets the ball, he can take it with him and go down 50 yards for a touchdown. I expect them to get him involved early too, and end arounds, different things, just easy screens, something like that to get the ball in his hands. There's a lot of hype built up around him. I know they were really high on him in the preseason and in the offseason, so I expect them to try to use him often, as Allen Robinson's not really that downfield threat. He's your intermediate guy. Hopefully Anthony Miller here can break one loose. I like him a little bit. And the other one here is Taylor Gabriel. He's your gadget guy. I mean, he can do whatever he can do whatever they need him to, but he's just so inconsistent. You never know what to expect from him. I like Anthony Miller more than Taylor Gabriel here.
Agree.
Taylor Gabriel, if he breaks one for 80 yards, that'll just be unfortunate, but I expect Anthony Miller to do pretty well here. I'm going to use him throughout my lineups.
I definitely agree. And then the last guy might be Trey Burton. Could be a threat in lineups. It's the other thing about tight end. He's also been hurt.
Yeah, we'll see if he plays.
We're not even sure if he's going to play. But if he does, he has been successful in the past. So
yeah, coming off a really bad injury.
That's a little tough, but we definitely think we can highlight where we should go, and that will be like with the kickers, with people like Anthony Miller, Geronimo Allison, pay up for somebody like Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, the quarterbacks. And we think that that's the way to go this week.
Yeah,
I really like it.
And thinking about your captain spot, it's going to depend on which way you're playing. If you're playing cash, I'm going to go with that safer, maybe Aaron Jones type. Mm-hmm. If you're playing GPPs though, I definitely, or in cash maybe a Trubisky. We didn't touch on the quarterbacks. I prefer Trubisky here, just with that rushing upside. I think Rodgers will throw for 250 and maybe 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Trubisky didn't throw a pick against the Packers last year. He actually threw for 240 in the second game. Has that rushing upside, couple touchdowns in that second game against them last year. So I prefer Trubisky to Rodgers here, as crazy as I think that is. Either one though, I think will be fine. If Rodgers has to play like he did last year in that first game against them, and come back from 21-3 or whatever it was,
it could happen.
Right. So, but I again, with Chicago's defense, the game flow suggests Trubisky. So I mean, he would be a good safe cash option as well. If you're doing GPPs like we talked about in the preseason, the receiver might be the way to go. I mean, Geronimo at captain is ugly. But
he's a great option, in my opinion, to
take
agree. Down a contest.
It's going to be one of those guys that people don't really think about to put at captain, and if he gets in the end zone one, maybe twice for 100 yards, I mean, that'll set you really apart.
Yeah.
So those are kind of just talking about that, I think those are kind of the 3 guys I'll use at captain.
And when you're talking about ownership, like, I expect Devontae Adams to be 50 to 60% owned,
right,
and about 40% at captain, 30% at captain. So You got to think about what the saturation is going to be, how much you care about that, and he could end up being the top scorer and being the top guy, but it's probably better to take a shot with somebody like Geronimo or even Tariq Cohen, maybe, but he's probably higher into Anthony Miller. A lot of them had the potential to break out. Yeah. So there's just a lot to consider going into this week. And even if it could end up being, I doubt it, but could be like a 13 to like 9 game.
I would doubt it too. I see 24-20
yeah.
in that range. I think the total's about 44 to 46.
I'm not surprised.
So, yeah, that's what I see here.
Yeah. So I expect a position player over like a kicker, which can happen sometimes.
Right.
Maybe in December when it's snowing. But yeah, so that's, I think we've covered everything we need to.
Yeah, just really key in on those guys that we said we really liked and are going to use across the lineups. We mentioned the other guys just to talk about them, and we'll use them a little bit, but the base of our ownership is going to be the guys that we really hit on.
Yeah, and it's just the breakdown of how it works and what we've seen from statistics. And it's the sad part is it is week 1. We're only going off what we've seen last year and in the preseason, so there's going to be a lot more in-depth going into the season, analyzing the first few weeks and knowing where teams are at currently. It's kind of hard right now.
It is, and especially in showdowns, one guy can ruin a slate. I know when we looked at all the players in the pool, and we were like, Taylor Gabriel has ruined just about every showdown slate I've ever played. And that's honesty. Like, if you don't play him, he scores a 80-yard touchdown. When you play him, he gets 3 catches for 20 yards, and it's just nothing. It's just one of those things where showdown slates, one guy can kind of bust the slate open. You hope you have that guy. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we see a bunch of 10-yard touchdowns and some field goals, and it goes our way.
Yep. Well, I think that's all we got. But please, again, follow us on Twitter at DraftUnderDFS, and we are going to be posting out a Sunday slate video very soon. So watch out for that.
Yep.
And we should have pretty good coverage on that.
Yep. Just go sign up for Draft Dashboard.
Yep.
The link will be in our Twitter. It'll be in the comments on YouTube, in the description.
We'll be throwing it all over, and really, you can't really get a deal like this most of our places. So it's not even like us selling it. Really, we just want the best for you guys and the best for us.
Yeah.
And we think that this will help be successful and making better lineups.
All you need to do is play a $1 double up to get your money back.
That's all you gotta do. All right, so we look forward to seeing you next time, and good luck on Thursday.